Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in with V. I have my guest here today, again, my son, Kawika Fujiwara.
Hello, everybody.
Thanks, son, for coming on board and helping us again. And we were discussing a really good topic a couple of days ago, and it really just
Sparked something.
More than that, it was just like we were fired up. We were just like,
Yeah.
ugh.
A little motivated, you could say.
Yeah, and he was like, I like this part of you, Mom. So we wanted to share it with you guys. And so we named the topic of our discussion is wake up or waste away. And the reason for that is because, people they're still sick and they're still slacking, and your body is constantly giving you health warnings and they're doing nothing. Right. People are doing nothing.
Yeah.
Absolutely doing nothing. I see countless people with cancer or even diabetes or anything. And you know what? They're not doing anything about it, but they're doing this. They're just talking, and not doing enough of anything.
They're blaming the problem and not doing anything about a solution.
But they're the problem.
Right. But they're
the problem. They're the ones who did it to themselves.
Yeah, they're blaming the problem. So they're
No, they're blaming the challenge, the diagnosis, but they're not blaming the problem. The problem is them.
Right.
You chose to put that substance in your body. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're a smoker and you get cancer you get lung cancer from smoking, duh.
Right.
It's like you're the one who gave yourself lung cancer. What are you complaining about?
Yeah.
If you have diabetes, you can say, well, right now I don't need a lot of sugar, but it's like what led up to that? Like I'm constantly talking about the habits you're doing now is going to eventually lead up to it, years
Later
down
on.
the road.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily mean within the next, 5 to 6 days or even the next 12 months.
Right.
But most people don't want to, hold themselves accountable, right? I mean, they have all these health warnings, and it just means nothing to anybody anymore. Mm-hmm. I mean, one of the things we were talking about is like, I have constantly given my services for free, or reduced my service price down to help individuals. And you know what?
They just ignored it.
They're just ignoring it.
Yeah.
They're just ignoring it. They're seeing that I've made progress in my body. They're the ones coming to me and they're like, oh my gosh, you can see that you've lost weight, or, I'm like, I'm not doing this drastic snatched up, but if you see me every single day or every week, you're going to see that, hey, she's making these changes. You can see it in her skin. You can see it in everything. Everything. No joke. I bought this blouse like 10 years ago because I couldn't fit my arms into it. And now I'm just like, hey, here you go. But you know what? Like I saw that there was a problem. My problem was my arms. Mm-hmm. One, it is a little bit hereditary. My mother does have really big arms.
Right.
But why? Like she drank a lot. Like she constantly drank a lot. So did I drink a lot? At one point in time, yeah. When I had my back injury, I drank a lot instead of, doing medication. So that's how I chose. But you reap what you sow, right? Mm-hmm. And most of these people are doing that.
Right.
So it's like the other thing was diseases are not waking people up anymore. I mean, seriously.
It's the reason behind it is because people are not looking at the problems long term they could cause. And I think the ignoring it is not just ignoring it by itself, but wanting to ignore the repercussions behind it and what you have to go through to really stop it. Even if they do have it, they don't want to go through the process.
Well, yeah, because I think they're too busy living in the moment.
Right.
Right? And there's nothing wrong. Don't get me wrong. It's great to live in the moment. Mm-hmm. But if you're living and you're stuck in that moment too long, honestly, then what's really going on? Like, you're not seeing the aftermath. You're not seeing the what if, I do that. If I drink too much water right now, I'm going to have to go pee. Right. That's just logic, right? And if this is full of sugar, then, it's going to be hydrated all the time.
Right.
And then it's like, well, what are you doing? You know, if this is a bunch of coffee, then I'm going to be dehydrated, and I might be pooping a lot too if I'm drinking this. But if this is all green juice, you know, I should expect one to go poop, and I should expect to, you know, be hydrated and have some energy and maybe lose a few pounds if I'm consistently doing that. But if I'm consistently doing all the other ones that we just talked about, then gonna have repercussions and challenges and all these things going on. It's like, but it's not enough. Like, you have diabetes, you have high blood pressure,
and then you
got thyroid issues. You know, you got heavy periods. You're going through menopause, you know, because the world wants you to go through menopause. They want you to be all jacked up and, you know, and feel a certain way and look a certain way. And it's like, but it's still not enough for you to make any change. Like, seriously, what is that? I mean, just recently you were talking about how you want to start making some more deeper changes.
Right, yeah, because I think I finally realized that it's, in the long term, is beneficial. And even in short term, like right now, I think I know that in certain times when I do eat bad or I do have those days where I cheat, the repercussions I see are severe. And so,
like what? What is this severe for you?
Body aching, slowness, foggy thoughts. You know.
I mean, what I see is a bad attitude.
Bad attitude. Well, yeah, mood changes. Like there was this thing. On the news, right? They were saying that eating bad foods was causing depression.
So I'm gonna be posting that on my Instagram soon. You'll see it.
She took a video. And she was like, wow, she was actually really laughing. And I was thinking like, wow, you're only thinking about this now? You're catching that now? And so it's...
how it's changing to bad attitudes or something like that?
Right, bad attitude and depression.
Yeah, and depression. Yeah,
right. And
like
so
trans fats and refined sugars weren't a clue beforehand.
And you're only catching it now.
But even if someone has depression, let's just say even in that, and let's piggyback off of that, if they have depression, let's just go to a doctor and give a pill and have an excuse.
Right.
Instead of seriously, why am I depressed? What's causing that? What is the root problem to you being depressed?
Right.
You know, nobody's really wanting to
actually
figure it out.
Yeah. They don't want to do the work behind it. And I think that's because people are so afraid of the journey. They don't know how long it's going to take. So they're avoiding it. And so when I see that, it's like...
So they rather stay in pain.
They rather stay in pain
and take no action.
Than taking action, yeah.
It's like their fear of the unknown might be good results.
Right.
You know, or it takes too long. I know most people today are very impatient.
Right, yeah.
They want to see that quick, you know, right now. And it's like, why? It's like everything, you know, like if you're a farmer... Like really, let's think about this. If you're a farmer and you're gonna go sow seed, and you bring up the seed, I mean, you sow the seed, you have to wait. It's a time limit. So I remember some years ago, I read this book, I don't even know if he was a pastor or whatnot, but I remember in his book, and the book was like about this big. I just pulled it out of the shed. The big red book. I forget what it's called, but it was something about gems, right? So he tells all these stories. And one of the stories... It was like
finding the hidden gem or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah. I can't remember who wrote it. But it was one of the only, I guess you want to say, hoopla books that I kept out of all my stuff. Because there's one story in it that he talks about, and I'm going to paraphrase it here, is what he said was, he was where he lived, he sowed corn, right? So they went out and they told the soil. They went in, they messed it all up to, make it all nice and loose. They put their seeds down and they had to wait. He said, I got so impatient that he was like, something's wrong, like it's not working, right? And listen, mind you, I want you guys to think about what is I'm saying to your own personal life. Like, what is it that you're doing to think that I'm being impatient about, right? So he says he's waiting and figures there's something wrong. So what does he do? He goes and rips up the soil. When he realizes that there was some roots already growing, and it was right before the dirt, there was a tiny little ready to come out, right? But what happens is you tainted it. So now he he can't just put the
Gotta
dirt back
start
and leave
over.
it. He has to start all over.
Right.
So he's like, man, he really bit himself in the butt at this
Right.
time. So he's like, all right. So he takes it all, he has to take all the seed out, toil the soil again, put
then
the
plant the
seed
seed.
back, which is now what? More time consuming,
Right.
costs more money,
Right.
right? And what he was impatient about, now it has more time.
Right.
So now he had to go do it again. And he's waiting and he's waiting. He waits a little bit longer. And he's like, damn, it's like something's wrong. So then he gets a little spurt up, but it's not going to the magnitude that he wants, right? And he's like, something's wrong. He's just seeing a little bit over the dirt. He's like, something's wrong. But if he really took the time out, as he says further along in the book, he says, if I took the time out to actually wait and see and just wait on the harvest, it was the corn, it will flourish right away.
Good results
Because
come
how
with
many
time.
times have we gone across the 15 freeway or any freeway and then see that they're just making something, and then we drive by a couple months later, we're like, oh damn. We're
Yeah.
like, what GMO did they put on that, you know?
Yeah.
So that brings me to the thought process of what this man said. So then he finally, goes and he rips it up again and sees that the roots were longer. And even though it only like uprooted a little bit like this mic, right? Just a little bit above this round base, the roots were longer. And that's what they needed to do to grow so they can just start sparking,
Yeah.
absorbing all the nutrients from the soil, right?
That reminds me of something, because there was this thing I saw on TV. It was someone said like bamboo takes a long time to grow.
Oh,
It
yes.
goes in the ground for like 6 years or something. I'm paraphrasing, but I don't really know the.
It's several years.
It's
It is
several
several years,
years.
yeah, yeah.
And then in a couple weeks, it shoots up.
Yeah.
Like feet, and in that the meaning of that saying was good things come with time. And bigger things come with patience. And so that really is a reminder to all of us that things have to take time,
Right.
and things you have to wait and see the repercussions of your good choices versus your bad choices. And like you said, that guy ripping it up twice, like you have to wait and good things will come.
And he finally did it again for the third time.
For a third time.
Three
Wow.
times. It took him 3 times to do this. And then finally he realized that if he would have just waited a little bit longer,
Right.
he would have had
It
the
would've shot up.
harvest that he needed.
Yeah.
And that is what we do with our bodies. We're
Right.
like, oh, we're not seeing results. My blood sugar is not down. My blood pressure is not down. I'm not losing all the weight fast enough. But, as I was telling my son just on the way over here, was that, he mentioned that I have lost some weight since I started, doing these episodes, but not anything drastic. But it takes time for my body. As many times as you might hear me say, be in tune with your body, know how your body functions, what your cues are telling you, what your body cues are telling you. And for me, it takes, for some reason, I don't know why, but it takes like 6 months of continuous of whatever it is I'm doing to see results of anything. And so, I don't know what month I'm on for that particular, but I'm just being consistent. And each month I start eliminating more and more and more and get more drastic in my diet. Like now I don't even eat fish at all anymore. I mean, do I crave it and I want it from time to time? Yeah, because I think it's still in my brain. Detoxification in the brain, which, we'll get to talking about on another episode. But all these things, like you have to do in order to make things happen, you have to wait. We're not waiting. We're like, boom, we're not seeing anything. We're just like, we're cool, but it's not clicking with us anymore. Like nobody wants to stop. They're just wasting away. They're like, it's okay. They're just wasting away.
Just
They
slowly,
don't. They're not wanting to wake up. Like, they wake up maybe for 5 seconds. They're at the doctor's office, and oh my gosh, I have this. I'm gonna die. I have cancer. Well, what the hell are you gonna do about it?
Right.
Like, really, what are you gonna do about it? You're gonna just follow the orders that the doctor is saying? I'm not saying not to. What I'm saying is, are they doing something that's in benefit to your well-being?
But still, even if they do follow the doctor's requests, sometimes that doesn't turn out the best way either for them.
Yeah, because you know what? A crisis hits and there's no change, right? So, I mean, the last, I would say 6 months, I've come across so many cancer patients. And guess what? They're still doing the same thing. But they have more depression. So, you know, they're sad and they're doing the, what I call the whimies, but not really stopping to say, what role did I play into getting cancer?
This,
You know, I mean, when I was going through therapy with your father, one of the things that I had to learn is what role did I play into this toxic relationship, right? I wasn't just obsolete. You know, I mean, I wasn't exempt from anything that was going on. And so you have to look at what role and what things did you do to root this cause. Because none of us, as I've said before, on several of our other episodes, we are not, and even if you met me in person, we are not exempt to having cancer cells. Everyone has cancer cells. It's just, what are you doing to feed it? Right? So it is very, I mean, for a great example here on the table, you know, here is glass water. There's bottled water. Microplastics will feed cancer. I mean, he was thirsty and I didn't want to share my water. No, I'm just kidding. I offered my water. He wanted to have his own. But that's the thing, is that when you choose to make that choice, know that you are going to have that, you're contributing to the cause, right? Instead of, you know, making some changes about it, we're just sit there and complain about it. You know, and that's what most people are doing. Nobody is begging you to listen. Nobody's begging you to make any changes. I mean, sometimes I feel like at some points in my life, I feel like I am. And he tells me, Mama, you just care too much. And it's like, why don't people care enough about themselves? It's like, seriously, I'm driving down the street. We go stop somewhere. Even at the gas station, I'll be out pumping gas and I'm looking at everybody around me. Why is everybody morbidly obese? Like, seriously.
My mother is a very sensitive person. So she cares a lot about other people's well-being, sometimes even more than herself in some cases. And so she will put her well-being first, but it will look like she is caring for the other person more. And that's where her being very sensitive comes in, and her caringness and all of that. It is like, it makes her realize that other people are not caring enough for themselves and doing enough to put in the effort, you know, to actually help themselves.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes when we're at the gas station, I want to just walk over to them and be like, how can I help you? You know, it's like, or, you know, like that one day when we were into Costco, I went into Costco to go get some bananas. And what else? And I even said I want to stop eating Costco bananas. I just like, ugh, it's like making me want to be grossed out because I honestly don't know what's going on. But we went to go get some bananas and something else, and it was some frozen berries. That's what it was, to make some smoothies. And so we went in there to go and get some organic frozen berries, and no joke, there is a long line for for their vending area, right? Their food area, their food concession area.
The samples.
And no, not just the samples, but where they sell the hot dog and stuff outside. And everybody was like, oh my gosh, like everybody's fat, Walker. And it's like, oh my goodness, like I'm not trying, please don't try to understand. I'm not coming off as judging people. It's just sad and it's pitiful. No, it's not judging them. It's like seriously, they do not see it. Do they like it, or are they just complaining? It's like what we're talking about. Wake up, or you're wasting away. It's like, what are you doing to make the change? But you're over here eating Costco hot dog, and I'm not saying like you have not seen me. I've been in that Costco hot dog line, and don't get me wrong, the Costco hot dog is really good, and I love it with some relish and some mustard. You know, I mean, who doesn't like a really good, big, juicy Nathan's hot dog? You know, but when you sit there and think about all the stuff that's in the hot dog, how that hot dog is made, and what the hot dog is going to do to your body, to your intestines, and wondering why you got colon cancer or cancer.
Well,
I mean, maybe it was too many damn Costco hot dogs.
I will say the saying again. There was a saying that keep the rich rich. There's things that keep the rich rich, the poor poor, and
the sick
and
sick.
the sick sick. And so when that happens, it's like the smart people are the ones that come up on top. And so you can't just sometimes, like, I won't say admit that people don't want to help or get help, but admit that some people don't want help.
I really believe, and that's like how we've talked about with like the homeless people we see. And I say, you know, I honestly don't feel sorry for a lot
They're
of
more
homeless
than
people.
capable.
There's majority of them, if you look at them and they're functioning, they're more than capable of getting a job. They're younger and younger. I'm seeing kids out 18, 20 years old with their sign being like begging for money. I'd be like, get a damn job. Go get a job. I see mothers out there with their kids, you know, to feel sorry for them. It's like, no, we have a welfare system to help you remotely where you don't have to, you know, do that, stand outside and subject your children to harm's way
But the
next
homeless
to a
people
vehicle.
have more rights than us.
Homeless people have more rights exactly than we do. But, you know, when you're doing these things, they know that they have that and they just go ahead and do whatever they want. You know, but that's a whole nother subject.
It's easier for
we
them
could go on a tangent on that alone.
It's easier
like,
for them to beg for money than actually get a job and get rid of their rights more than ours.
Well, yeah. I mean, I saw some guy that was all buffed out, like literally all buffed out. And no joke, he said that he just takes his shirt off and asks people for money. And he had 2 college degrees. He said it was easier to get money from people off the street than it was for him to get a job. I mean, this is a mindset of people now. Like, and let's go put this on social media so, you know, it's okay. And that's...
So now it's entertaining other dumb people. So now
not just even entertaining, but it's sowing seeds in other people, young folks like yourself, that, oh, this is what I can do, instead of be a law-abiding citizen and actually work hard the way God told us to work for, you know, for our families,
but people want the easy way.
They do. Nobody wants to do it. I don't even think these people really even want help. They really don't want help. They just want to kind of like fly by with the system and don't even want to. And even the ones that are chronically ill, they really just don't want help. Because if they do, you know, I mean, shoot, my phone would be ringing up off the hook and I'd be booked, you know, 7, 8 months, 2 years down solid, you know. But there's enough people. There are so many people out there, even just what I see on a weekend. You know, people are doing things wrong. They're not eating the right foods with the correct foods. They're just throwing everything all together, you know, and then wondering why they have the gas and the bloating and the constipation or the leaky gut syndromes, you know, symptoms and all this other stuff. They're not doing what they need to do. I mean, you see it with all the kids, you know, they're going to Starbucks and spending money and, you know, doing all this other stuff and not actually doing what needs to be done. They're choosing to decline.
I mean, admittingly, I am not going to, like, I'm not going to critique anyone for having that mindset because they don't know. But I'm not one to just say, hey, you're doing that wrong, do this, do that. I'll give you suggestions, but if you don't want the suggestions, then I'm not going to try anymore. You know, I've told people, my peers my age, and it's like, they don't want to listen, and it's like, I'd rather know, and you stay dumb. You know, I'm the smarter one on
because they're choosing to die slowly.
Yeah, and that's
or even some people rapidly.
That's what the people sow seeds in kids our age, that it's easy. They want easy. You know, that's why fast food is a thing. Is because it's easy. You know, you don't have to spend time like an hour cooking dinner for the whole family and then eat and then wash the dishes. You could just get fast food, mess up your stomach, you know, pay a little bit of money.
Yeah, but
then
then the parents are complaining like, oh, 2 incomes are not enough to feed the family of 5. But you're wondering why you're spending one of the incomes to fast food. And then a partial of your income that's supposed to be paying the bills or the mortgage or
snacks
and
here
stuff
and
like
there.
that, for hospital bills.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so exhausting for me that I have helped countless amount of people, made several suggestions on what they need to do moving forward, and then they're going to continue to still do the same thing and expect different results. Like you have asthma and you want to, feel better and breathe so you could play a sport, but yet you're still feeding yourself mucus forming foods. That's building that mucus. Mucus is what's killing us all.
I think, just people don't want to admit the problems.
And of course not. They don't.
They don't want to admit the problem is them.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
So when they see that, they don't want to get help because then they make themselves look like the problem when they are, and they feel bad for trying to get help.
I think that, nobody wants to admit that they dropped the ball.
Right.
Nobody wants to look bad.
Right.
And I get that. I felt that way too. But you know what? I'm going to tell you people, that is less heart aching than living a long life of just turmoil.
Right.
It's seriously, it goes back to the Israelites. Like if you think about it, it's like, could they have gotten to the promised land of milk and honey in 11 days versus 40 years? They chose 40 years. It's up to them. To me, that's just psychotic. I mean, when I really read it, I've taught it so many times, but when I read it, to read it, like I tell you, when you read anything, let it examine you. Especially when you read the Bible, let it examine you. When I really started reading it to understand the full context of what God meant it when he was, showing us his example, I'm like, I don't want to be stupid like that. I really want to make the choices right. Yeah, we're going to drop the ball. Nobody's perfect. God says that we will all fall short to his glory. And this temple is part of to glorify him. So if that's the case, we need to take care of this body in order. I see countless people at churches. Ugh, they didn't get me started, Virginia. At churches, and they're praising the Lord. They're doing all these things, and they got crap food killing them. They're killing their temple. And it's like, wow, what are you doing? They're not coming. You're not seeing fruits and vegetables. I'll take fruits and vegetables and maybe a yogurt and some ranch dressing if you want to go toxic. You can't. But
you can't teach the stubborn.
You can't. You're right. You just.
You can't.
You're right. You can't.
There's no possible way, because even if they do, if they're good in one thing, but then they focus all on that thing, and then they're rejecting all the other stuff, like the food, and they're all about God, but then all their stuff is about God, and they're rejecting all the other stuff about food and their lifestyle and all their habits and stuff like that. But it should be evenly balanced, all of it.
Well, that's why I'm always constantly talking about spirit, mind, and body.
Right, and
how it's all together.
Even if you have to get rid of some of those things, like the bad eating or some of the bad habits, or even not going to church, like we have stopped going to church.
Absolutely.
That has drawn us away from wrongly teaching, in the churches. And even with the bad eating, cut out bad eating, bad habits have gone out with the bad eating.
Right.
Because once you start bad eating, you stop the bad eating, the bad habits go away too, and your brain starts clearing up. No more brain fog, no more thoughts or other thoughts, so all of that goes away off of making that one decision. Do I really want to commit to this, or do I not? And that's when people don't want to do the dirty work. They don't want to get their hands dirty for any of it.
Yeah. And that makes, when you said that makes me think when we went completely, when your brother was little, when we went completely, you were younger too, and went gluten-free and non-GMO, no rice, no sweets or anything like that.
Yeah.
People stopped inviting us to birthday parties. They're like, they're not going to eat anything. And I'm like, well, shoot, you should invite us. We're not going to cost you anything.
Right.
But they would feel bad when they would give you your goodie bag that was just a bunch of sugar to kill you. And I was like, yeah, no. And then put you in that position and you're like, oh, but I want it. And then I'm having to go home and give you something that you do like, you know, or I would bring our own food. You know, that's what that reminds me of when you said that.
Yeah, I remember when I was a little kid, I was like, when we used to go to birthday parties and I used to get that bag, and it was like, and now I realize, like, was that such a good decision, because that could be affecting me now, you know, and the repercussions from that is me being naive, or not even, yes, naive to what's going
To the full
on, to the full
understanding,
to the extent that I know now.
Yeah.
You know, so it's one thing when you're naive, but it's another thing when you're being stupid.
Which
So,
we
talked about that.
Yeah.
So there's a big difference from being naive and stupid, and that it's a big problem nowadays.
So it's just really understanding that healing demands more than just talk. It actually needs to take action.
Right, and now I'm gonna sip on my microplastics.
We need to take action when it comes to our own being. And it's small baby steps. It's not saying like, you know, like, okay, for instance, even something like that, right? You don't do this all the time.
No.
You know, like even in here is not the
filter-
bottled water that came in this container. I bought this
filter water.
container especially because of the sleekness of it. It's easier for me to hold, but I wanted something that was glass. So that is what was very important to me, because I left my last glass container somewhere else.
At our house, we have 2 filtering systems for water. It takes like 3 hours to get water.
4 hours.
4 hours. The Berkey and then the distiller takes 3.
Yeah,
Yes,
it takes 4
for a
hours for
gallon.
us to get a gallon of water. And we're a family of 4. And so that thing is constantly going 24/7.
It's
like it never, and then when it's not going, it's like, why? Because the animals drink the water as well. You know, we drink the water. I make my sea moss with that water. You know, I make all my elderberry syrup with it. I mean, anything that with my toothpaste, all the things that I make and create and I sell, those things I give to my clients, I make water. So, you know, constantly cleaning the systems in itself, you know, I got to clean those too, making sure in between us, you know, making water, all those matters, but we got to take the action, right? So it just starts somewhere. So is when I tell my clients this all the time, it's like, you don't have to try to, how do you eat an elephant?
1 piece at a time.
You can't eat it all at one time. So you eat 1 bite at a time. So you take these baby steps, right? You figure out what your why is. Why do you want these things? What results? What are your goals? Whatever that looks like for you. And then let's draw them up.
And then
start taking some action.
Even those baby steps are necessary.
Absolutely.
Because like we've seen people go from carnivore to vegan or vegetarian, and it's like that jump.
I've seen them go backwards too.
And go back, and it's like that jump
I've been there
so
once.
severe, right? But they have to progressively move on to that point. They don't have to just jump right into it, and that's where people And people do that with Christianity too. They give themselves to the Lord, they get all fired up, they don't get the results and expectations that they want, and then they go back. And I've had so many people say, "Oh, I've done the whole God thing before." Well, God thing, it's not a thing. It's just like eating healthy is a lifestyle. Being with God is a lifestyle. It is a choice, a conscious decision you make, a promise, a covenant, whatever it is you want to call it. You make that conscious decision that you're going to do this every single day, and it's just going to become this nice, healthy habit that you do every single day. You're going to, before your feet hit the floor, you're going to be thanking the Lord that he woke you up one more day, because today is not promised, he says. So we got to look at all these things. I mean, these principles that God gives us is not just about us following him. It's for our daily lives, you know? I mean, like seriously, when something like this, I've noticed people only start worshiping God when something drastic happens. But they follow him just to heal them, and then they go back doing what they're supposed to do. Like if God's a doctor and just, you know, okay, cool, I healed you. See him once here and there.
Yeah, and then it's good, you know, no big deal. And then all of a sudden, but that's not the action I'm talking about we need to take. We need to make conscious decisions and really tell ourselves, you know, like, hey, Virginia, hey, Kawika, do you really want to do this? Like, when I tell you about soccer, you want to play soccer, you want to be pro, if that is what God wants you to do, then do it. Then do every single little thing that needs to be done. And in order for you to do that, for you to have that longevity, like we were talking about, what's his face? I forget his name. Ronaldo?
Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yeah, we talking about Ronaldo. And I'm like, okay, well, what is he doing? You know, he's 40 years old.
Yeah.
Still
just
playing
turned 40.
soccer.
He's a professional.
You know, okay, so
Yeah.
what is he doing? Does that match up to something you could be doing? Does that work for your body functionalities?
Right.
You know, your capability, your spirit, your mind, and your body.
Right.
You know, I mean, we saw a video of this lady who was 78 years old and looked like she was 50.
Yeah.
You know, because why? Guess what? She doesn't eat any mucus, you know? And I'm down to just eating mucus maybe one time a day.
But you know what the best
and it's
part
very
of that,
minimal.
The best part of that is that they started over time in the middle of their life. They weren't even started from the beginning. And even if they were started from the beginning, they would be even probably better.
Well, I think it's a conscious decision because look at you're young. You're 15 years old and you're making the decisions now.
Right, but that's because I'm more knowledgeable about it.
So it is, but that's what God talks about in His Word, though. He says knowledge is key to finding wisdom.
Yeah,
you
but
got to seek the knowledge.
Yeah, but then people are so naive to it. They don't know anything about it, and then they don't want to learn anything about it. They don't want.
But
to
that
do the work.
still becomes a choice, right?
Right,
It still
it is all
becomes a
down
choice
to
if
a
they really
choice.
want to learn it or not.
But even if people like the 70-year-old that you said that was 50, even if her mom started her off younger, right, with eating well, I think she would probably be better off right now than she is.
That I could see
You know,
where you're
it
coming
could be
from.
better.
Yeah.
You know, but even when you do make choices right now, it could still be a good choice later on.
Beneficial for you no matter
Right.
where you're at.
Yeah.
You know, like just recently I told my mother-in-law, I told her, you know, I was separating all her food that she had and I said, I just have one question for you. And she asked me, you know, okay. And I said, do you want to die? And she looked at me and said, no. And I said, you know, granted, she's 80 years old, but I'm like, do you want to die? Because this stuff here that you're consuming is going to kill you even faster. You know, it's going to kill you faster with all the challenges, medical challenges you already got going on.
Right.
Like, what's your goal? I mean, even at 80, do you want to live another 20 years? It's doable.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw another video of a lady who was 141 years old in Jamaica.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, but she's a healer. She does, you know, all these natural remedies and herbs. I mean,
Yeah.
a woman after my own heart, you know, and it's like, I didn't start this journey eating. I didn't buy my first organic anything until right after I think you were born.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was in about 35, 36 years old when I
Yeah.
started doing that.
Yeah.
You know, when I started buying, I think it was first, I started with organic pasta, you know, because I was trying to figure out why my stomach hurt so bad, you know. But man, that's been 15 years now. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, seriously. So it doesn't happen overnight, but you start making that conscious decision. And so when I talked to my mother-in-law, I told her, she's like, well, what do I do? Most people go chaotic. And even I've had clients be like, oh my gosh, then what do I eat then? Just start with one thing. And I told my mother-in-law, instead of you eating 5 tortillas per setting of a meal that you're eating, you know, for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you know, that's like 15 tortillas all day long. I said, just have 2. Have
You know,
2 per
I
meal.
think that
And the less you decrease, which you're seeing it, right? The less you decrease, the better results you start to see. And you're like, hey, I'm not tired anymore. I don't have aches and pains.
I think the year goal scares people away.
That
what? How long it will take over the years will scare them away.
I think they shouldn't look at it in that factor.
Right,
They
but
should
it
look at
will.
it as, what am I going to do right now, this
Right.
week?
But I think it does. And I think when people set goals for multiple years ahead, it is beneficial. But then looking at the fact that it will take that long scares people away.
Right.
And that's where people get like doubts about it, and you know, they get scared of it.
Well, I remember watching one time, J-Lo had said that the way she stays fit is she looks at the next event.
Right.
So like I'm preparing myself for that event. And then after that event, what's the next event?
Right.
So she stays consistent and she just prepares herself.
Right.
I mean, it just totally makes sense. You know, I mean, look at things in a short-term goals for long-term goals. Like you've heard me say before, do slow to fast things up, you know? So you have to make those conscious decisions. That's the actions that need to start taking place. You have to decide first, this is what I want. Why do I want this? And what little baby steps am I going to take to make it? Now, don't just say like, well, you know, I'm just going to have, you know, if it's like you're a soda drinker, you know, don't just say I'm going to stop drinking soda. If you've been drinking soda for 10, 15 years, don't just stop drinking soda. Your body's going to go, what the heck?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it really is. And you're going to get that wrinkle down your face. And so, you know, you're going to be like, what? So don't do that. You want to just be like, okay, don't do it every, you know, if you drink 5 times a day, drink it 1 time a day. To now 4 times a week, to 2 times a week, to maybe a few times a month now. Because what you put in your body, your mind, and your spirit, it craves it.
Yeah.
So when you start eliminating it, it makes it easier for you to not want it. Right. It doesn't matter what it is. It's the same thing. You put more Jesus down, you're going to crave Jesus. You put more the world, you're going to get more of the world, right? So that's just the same thing. You put more garbage down your throat, guess what? You're going to start thinking and wanting that garbage. Because, I mean, you don't, for me, I'm not at the point even where I stop thinking about chili cheese fries or pastrami. You know, I mean, I still think about it every now and then, or some fried chicken or something like that. But then I look at the context of it, the actual context of it, and think about that dead chicken. Right. I think about like it being like, it could be, you know, one of these companies that are having major lawsuits right now, you know, of a chicken on top of a chicken, and they're having feces and stuff like that on top of it. And the chicken's all stressed out. And that's why I don't even eat eggs anymore, you know, but not only because it's mucus forming, but that's what initially started whatever starts your thought process to get you started, do it. Right. You know, and knowing that they feed all those chickens with omega-6s and fillers and all that stuff on top of they're being so nasty and treated the way they are, why would I want to eat that? Right. You know, I mean, honestly, I'd rather fast for 40 days than eat that chicken. But what actions are you doing to make it happen? I think that's where we need to start. I hope this episode really helps somebody, because I know Kawika and I really enjoy this subject. We talk about things like this all the time. Yeah. Please feel free to comment, share, like. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you have any questions or anything, please follow me on my Instagram at VitalityWithV and reach out to me. We'll talk